What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping into Destiny 2 for the weekly reset of the 31st of December. So of course this is the very final weekly reset for 2019 in Destiny 2, and we have had a pretty interesting year to look back on. Starting out with the tail end of Black Armory, and then of course Season of the Drifter, Season of Opulence, Shadowkeep, and finally Season of Dawn. It's safe to say that we've been fairly busy. But for this final week in 2019, it is one of the first non-roadmapped weeks for Season of Dawn. But nonetheless, the dawning continues, and we also have the endgame reset for all of our content, vendors, activities, and rewards. So let's round up the last weekly reset of 2019. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, a rating below really helps me out. But otherwise, let's get it cracking! And so, jumping into the content in-game this week, of course we have the Sundial, we've got the powerful drop and all that good stuff. The boss this week should be Nirul, I believe I'm saying that correctly. That was the week 1 boss, so that's kind of cycled round. And we will get one final boss later on in January. Then otherwise, of course, there is the Tower Obelisk, and once again this is going to be worth upgrading in case it kind of features into any of the upcoming content. So looking back right here, definitely make sure that you do all of these resonant power upgrades, and any additional upgrades on the planetary obelisks just in case they are relevant to any of the upcoming content. On the subject of Season of Dawn content in general, we should speak about next week's content because we do finally get the first exotic quest for this season, and that comes in the form of the Devil's Ruin quest. So it should be pretty interesting. Devil's Ruin comes with Close the Gap with variable trigger, press and release to fire individual shots, but hold to charge up a high-powered, staggering laser, which is strong against unstoppable champions. So you do get that stagger effect. Fully charging the laser refills the magazine from reserves. It'll be interesting to see just how good the weapon will be in the game, but it is safe to say that sidearms are in a pretty interesting place in the game at the moment, so we'll see how that one pans out. But also next week on the roadmap we can see that we get the Legend Sundial mode. We don't really know much about how the rewards are going to work or anything like that, but it's worth bearing in mind it is a non-match-made mode. Not entirely sure if it could feature into the Devil's Ruin quest, although Bungie don't tend to do that with exotic quests, you know, having non-match-made activities and things like that too often. Back to the game right now though, of course the Dawning event is still taking place, and this runs up till January 14th, so you can continue to give gifts, earn the triumphs and hunt god rolls on the cold front, or the avalanche machine gun. And of course the bounties and all that good stuff are pretty good for farming XP, so all of that continues in the game for a couple more weeks. Of course all of our pinnacle drops in the game are fairly static at the moment, so we've got a bunch of different nightmare hunts. We've got Insanity, Anguish, and then Pride featured this week if you need to get any of those specifically done. Then as always we do get the pinnacle drop from the dungeon as well as the raid, and if you're wondering about the challenge, we've got leftovers for the challenge this week. For the week's flashpoint, if you are doing your powerful gear, this week will be over on Mars. And while we're looking at challenges and things like that, the Ordeal is listed for the new Pacific Arcology, so looks like we'll be doing Savathun's Song for the Ordeal this week, and of course you get the varying different difficulties of that. But in terms of the OG Nightfall strikes, we've initially got the Insight Terminus, where you can get the Long Goodbye Sniper Rifle. Then we have the Pyramidion, so another sniper rifle, and this one comes in the form of Silicon Neuroma. And then finally Hollowed Lair. So if you're after the Mindbender's Ambition, that is a good week to grind. Actually some pretty decent weapons to farm for this week, if you don't have much else to do. But seeing as we do have the Dawning still, let's take a look at the Eververse inventory right here. So you can spot stuff for silver on the front page, but we do have the Snowflake projection, the Amnestia S2 ship right there, as well as the Shower of Gifts transmat effect, and the Dawning Celebration shader on the featured Bright Dust section on the front page. But on the main Bright Dust page right here, we've got the Graceful Spin emote, the Amnestia S2 ship once again, but we do have the Confectionery Shell, which is maybe one that you want to pick up. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and grab that one, just for the collection, nonetheless. We've also got Bust a Move, the Breath of Stars, I nearly said the Ship of Stars then. And then we've got Glad Tidings, and the Wind Chill, which is the ornament for the Cold Front, the SMG for the Dawning event, so that's one you want to pick up. You can do so for 700 Bright Dust right now. And once again, we've got Shower of Gifts, the Snowy Entrance, the Resilient Laurel, and then the Dawning Tranquility shader, as well as boons and that good stuff. And now finally, for some of our legacy content, let's take a look at the Menagerie. We've got Void Singe, Iron, and Heavyweight for normal mode, and then Extinguish, Iron, Blackout, and Void Singe featured for heroic mode this week. Today's Reckoning modifiers consist of Solar Singe and Brawler, so that could be pretty fun stuff, especially with things like the new Titan build we've been speaking about recently. However, if you are curious about Leviathan Year 1 Raid Lair Prestige modifiers, we do have Gladiator, and then Arms Master this week with Sidearm, Scout Rifle, and Sword. That's for the kind of prestige versions of these Year 1 raids. For more of our legacy content, we have the Escalation Protocol as always, and this week the boss will be Kathok, the Roar of Zul, which means the Ikelos submachine gun is going to be available. Definitely a pretty good weapon, and with the fixes to Escalation Protocol armor drops and things like that, it's a pretty decent time to grind for those drops again. If you are still completing Dreaming City content though, this week, the Ascendant challenge is going to be the Keep of Owned Edges. This one's accessed via Harbinger Seclude, and if you are completing any of that content still, I will run some gameplay with the location and Ascendant challenge for the week. But otherwise guys, that summarizes everything we've got to talk about in this final weekly reset. And so, I do have to say for a final time, a massive thank you to all of you for the support this year. If you're celebrating New Year and all of that good stuff, then be sure to stay safe. But as always, thank you for tuning in guys. If you've enjoyed the video, a rating below really helps me out. If you're new to the channel, be sure to get subscribed if you want to keep up to date with Destiny 2 content. But otherwise, thank you as always for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.